What's up, Kade? How you doing, man?
Good. How are you, Jacob? Nice to meet you. Thanks for having me
Very
on.
good. Of course, nice to meet you as well. I know we were just saying before I hit record, the reason that I wanted to get you on here is just because you are so consistent on LinkedIn, going and just posting all the time, whether it's about what you're doing on the job or just whatever else. I want to kind of start there. Like, what made you get into wanting to post on LinkedIn more often? And what have you kind of learned as you've been doing that throughout the bit of time now?
Good question. I don't think I've been asked that before. Number one, I used to post when I worked in landscaping for myself, post on this app called Nextdoor, and that's how I got all my business. So I was like, okay, well, now I'm working in sales. Where do my buyers live? Where can I post about next? So that I sell to salespeople, obviously. So I'm like, okay, they're going to be all over LinkedIn. Why would I not post? So that's like very simple, very short. Like, okay, I'm going to make money from this because if I post, people are going to see me. And then they see my outreach. So like, oh, it's that Kade guy. I'll take a meeting. So very short answer there, but that's the quick spiel.
No, that's sweet. When you with the landscaping stuff, was that your business or were you working with somebody else?
It was my business. I wouldn't call it a business. Didn't have a name or anything, but I just did it for about like 2 years out of my Honda Accord. So I could fit everything but a mower.
Yeah. Dude, that's awesome. I actually will say like my startup experience before I got into corporate sales was running a very small like GC. We did more specific with roofing and some handyman work. But like how'd
Yeah.
you get into that? Like starting your own thing versus just getting a job as like a landscaper.
Yeah, I started working when I was like 15. I started working at Firehouse Subs, a little restaurant. And then, are you familiar with them?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Do you like it?
It's all right. I'm a big like Jersey Mike's fan.
Oh, okay. If you came to Firehouse, I'll make you a good one. But no, I was working at Firehouse. Obviously, they don't pay a lot. So I was like, okay, I got to do something else. I'm going to go work for myself because, you start working a job, you see how everybody else is. You're okay, I can do this by myself. So then I'm not sure how I found landscaping. I guess I just started. Oh, yeah, I was doing work for my grandma in landscaping. And I was like, okay, I'm going to try and get some more, work here because one, it pays more and I can, do this on my own time. So I started posting on like this neighborhood app called Nextdoor. And then after like 3 posts, I got a job. And then from there, it was just like word of mouth posting. And yeah. And then through landscaping, that's how I
Sweet.
found sales. I found out I like sales. So it's a whole story.
Yeah.
Ties
Well, that's
into
what I
each
was going to
other.
ask about because I feel like you said like that it's very reasonable and understanding that you started a thing, realized you could just do it for yourself and start a company, and then you went and did that. I feel like a lot of people don't actually think that way, and if they do, they never actually go and start their own business. Like, do you feel like that mentality is unique, and do you feel like that's helping you in sales?
I don't know if it's unique. It's kind of tooting my own horn, but what do you what do you think?
I don't know. I think it's okay to like toot your own horn a little bit because what I've learned over the years is being entrepreneurial just in spirit and in the way that you want to attack sales or even starting your own business. It's not that you're like better than people who don't want to do it. It's just very
Yeah.
specific. So I feel like if you have a mindset, it's more I'm going to try to act as an owner operator in anything that I do. At least for me, that's helped me be a better salesperson because even though I'm not making decisions for our entire company, I at least get to make decisions for what I have control over of running my book of business to try to make more money. So it feels very similar. Like, did you feel like the process of getting new business is very similar between, doing it for your own business and doing it for somebody else?
It is quite similar, yeah. Yeah, it's pretty similar. Like when I posted on Nextdoor and now I'm posting on LinkedIn, the kind of strategy is like I post, you see who interacts with it, who's like looking around at your posts and stuff, and you just connect with those people and reach out to them. So it's like the same process for Nextdoor and also LinkedIn. So yeah, it's been pretty much the same. Because like you said, you own your book of business. I have a book of business. Like I own that, and I have to get those people in.
Yeah. Are you guys, I know you do a lot of LinkedIn yourself. You said you're selling to salespeople. Are you doing also a lot of cold calls and stuff like that too? Or what does that look like for you?
Yeah, calls, emails, LinkedIn, all the stuff, all the stuff. What about you? I know you're full cycle. Do you do a lot of LinkedIn or email, phone?
Yeah, so I really have never leaned into LinkedIn as a prospecting strategy or even knowing that people will respond to eventually get me business like where I work. I honestly love using LinkedIn just more as a personal brand and build connections in general. So I'm a big cold calling guy. Like we technically do all the channels, but I live on the phone. And I really think that that's the best way to get in touch with people. That's why I'm curious from your perspective, because you sell to salespeople and they're on LinkedIn all the time. So maybe it makes it a little bit easier. I'm actually really curious what your cold calls sound like. Because it might be like stereotypical that the salesperson will like know you're calling them as a cold call. Like, what does that look like selling to salespeople? I've never done that.
First off, I love it. Like this is my first like sales job, obviously, and I love selling to salespeople. It's like now that I've done this, I probably wouldn't want to do sell to any other persona because like I'm a salesperson myself, so they get it and I get it. So they're always like nice to me. They're like, oh yeah, I mean not always nice, obviously, but like, oh yeah, I'm in sales too. I'll let you cold call, but I'm gonna tell you my opener. It's like they'll pick up. I'll be like, hey, name, it's Kate from Common Room. We haven't spoken before, but I sent you an email earlier and thought I'd give you a ring here if you got a minute. And like that almost always works. Like nobody's like, oh, don't cold call me, but I do call
Yeah.
marketers too. So sometimes like I get that. But I'm curious what yours sound like from such a. I mean, I'm sure you sell to such a different persona.
Yeah, because that's a different perspective. So when I was a BDR, I was working at Nextiva, which is a contact center solution. So we were talking with IT leaders and like contact center operations. And if you've
Yeah.
ever sold into IT, or if anyone listening has ever sold into IT, you know it's like running through a brick wall sometimes. So the biggest difference that I've realized, and even in my new role now, because I work at a company called Engine, we sell like a travel management software, so it's still operations and IT kind of, is the opener that I use is you have to try to sound like you know what you're talking about as fast as possible. It genuinely, for me, typically is just like, hi, name, it's Jacob calling from X company. How are you? And they say, good, how are you? And you just give them a value prop of exactly what they need to hear. And so a lot of the times that was just that we're work on a team here that's responsible with talking to leaders like yourself, really specifically on contact center strategy or on travel strategy. Wanted to see if you had a quick second to chat about that. And the biggest difference I've noticed is you just have to sound like you know exactly what you're talking about when you're calling into people who know tech or know technology. And that's why I always thought selling into sales would be interesting for exactly what you're saying is they probably at least let you talk most of the time, right?
Most of the time. Most of the time. I wish they let me talk
What
every
what
time.
are
But
the
no, they're
what are the biggest objections you get from these salespeople that you're trying to work with?
It's all the classic, like send me an email, I'm busy, hopping into a meeting, all that stuff. I mean, you know the game. Um, and then also like, oh, I wouldn't be the person for this, go after marketing. It's all the basics.
Have you ever tried using the fact that you're talking to salespeople to get around that objection? Like if they were to say, send me an email, and you said something along the lines of,
But
would
yeah.
I be a good salesperson if I just sent you an email and let you off the phone? Like, have you ever tried stuff like that?
I don't go after the risky ones, but my
Yeah.
colleague Ardavan does. He'd be like, let me ask you this. Have you ever received, he's like, we're both in sales. Have you ever gotten an email that's better than a conversation? And the people, it's funny, the people are always like, well, no, I haven't. It's like, I wouldn't expect them to say that. Maybe I'll have to hop
Does
on
that
that train,
work?
but
Does he like get the meeting from that?
he has a couple times. And then also one of my other colleagues here, KP, he hates sending emails when he has people on the phone. He was like, I can't even send emails. My manager said I can't. And the person was like, oh, okay. And then they booked, which is insane.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, dude, where do you
Yeah.
see kind of
What
your
about you?
your
Do you
path
try that
now?
with
No, definitely not. Definitely not. Just like I'll do objection handles of like, you know, I'll do something similar where I'll be like, I could send you an email, but it's going to be a lot of high level, potentially just marketing material. I wouldn't want to give you stuff that's completely irrelevant. Typically, it's best to just have a conversation, get a better understanding of your specifics, and go from there.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I wish people would be like when people agree with you, like they're like, yes, this is what I want to look at, but I just want to see an email first to make sure I don't want to waste time. It's like, ugh. But you can't handle that objection. In terms of your last question, I would like to try and be an AE. I think that would be really cool. And then like also SDR manager. Both of those look really appealing to me. So we'll see which one I try first. You never know. What
Yeah.
about you?
And
What do
it's
you
interesting.
do? You
Yeah,
like
cuz
AE?
I always thought I wanted to continue being a seller. Like at least right now, the track is like being an enterprise seller in tech sales is a very pinnacle job to try to aim for. It's interesting cuz when you're a good seller and a good BDR, you feel like that's the right track. But then management sometimes seems really awesome. Like I love talking to people. I love coaching. I love cold call strategy. So it kind of begs the question of like which one to go into. And that's why I was kind of curious from your perspective because you're brand new pretty much into like first time being a BDR, first time working corporate job, not running your own business. Like does it feel to you like you'll fit better in sales or fit better in management? And why do you think?
I mean, I like both. I really like to sell. And learning, more tactics. I learn a lot from the people around me. This is a really like good team. But then at the same time, it's like you see so many opportunities for, new stuff you can implement from when you're being an SDR yourself. Like, oh, I can make this better. I could do this. And it's like, I do really like working with people and helping them. Like seeing other people benefit from like stuff that you've given them is like such a good feeling, which is why like being an SDR manager would be sick. But I think I'd like to be an AE first before doing that.
Yeah, like
What
give
do
us
you
some
think?
time, right? Of like do all the sales stuff first until either you don't want to do it anymore or the transition just makes more sense. Because I feel like management you can get into like further down the line, but if you're good at sales and you're good at the strategy you're working, you might as well just keep doing it and like get more sales. It's like I've been really like bouncing around the thought of like why BDRs are so valuable to companies because before, when I was running my startup, we didn't have BDRs, obviously. A lot of times it's owners, operators, even in a corporate setting, it's managers and directors trying to get business for themselves or for their own pipeline. And I've really started to understand how valuable BDRs are to a company. Like, from your perspective, you're not even feeling like you have to toot your own horn. Now that you're in the role, like if you were to start another business again, how crucial do you think it is to have people to help with like cold, brand new outbound?
Hmm. Um, that would be pretty sick. Like imagining if I had a landscaping business and like I would just sell all day and then, people, they'd take the jobs, do the jobs. Like it just saves you so much time. So yeah, I think it would be it would be pretty sick. So yeah, definitely very beneficial, especially SDRs. I know people say SDR is the hardest job and stuff like that. I'm curious what you think on that. Do you think SDR is the hardest job in sales?
I think SDR is the most crucial job in sales, and I think people overcomplicate what it actually looks like to be a good SDR BDR. I think, and that's why I think management would be great, or even just the idea of potentially having a fractional BDR come into a company and help if they're good enough, and then trying to just hone in on strategy. Because what I feel like happens in certain companies is they try to teach everybody in the org something that's very high level of what you could say as a script or what the strategy could be, and I feel like the day to day gets very diluted into trying to make it fit this, everyone's trying to do it their own way while also trying to fit the strategy they're being taught. And it ends up just kind of not working. I feel like that's why you have really top performers and then some people that really struggle. I think it's really important for a brand new BDR or someone who's trying to get better at the role to find out what they're really good at as in that role and then just triple down on it.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great idea. I fully agree with that. Like for
Like,
me,
is
that
that
was
kind of how you
LinkedIn.
feel like from the LinkedIn? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I did like an experiment last month. I'm not sure if you saw my post yesterday, but like I made only 136 dials for like all of November. And when I started as an SDR in July, I slowly started picking up like some LinkedIn meetings. And then when it came to like October, I was like, okay, this is really working. Like 50% of my meetings came from LinkedIn. And then I was like, I'm going to just go hard on LinkedIn for a whole month. So it's literally just on LinkedIn all day for November, like commenting, connecting, reacting to posts. Basically everything. Sounds unfathomable, but I really was like just doing that. And then, I mean, it worked. Like I got to 150% of quota in November, but like obviously you can't break into every account through one channel, and it's important to get good at cold calling. And I'm also an SDR. I do want to cold call and get better at that. So yeah, that's just a cool like way of like double tripling down on what you're good at. And now that I've done that, it's okay. I know it works, but now want to get good at cold calling.
Yeah. And it's just knowing what to not waste time on, I think. Because if you are forced, where if someone said you have to find 5 or 6 prospects per account and you have to email all of them with a very specific strategic email, whatever. For me, it's like if we don't even know if they're going to respond, the email could bounce, the phone number could be wrong, the account could be terrible, and we're spending all this time and maybe you're not even the best email writer. But if you have a idea of an ICP and you who's good at LinkedIn could say, I'm just going to take that exact same effort and put it on LinkedIn and get better output. I think a manager should just say yes to that. There'd be no reason to force these additional KPIs if what is working for a BDR is working. Like that's what I think is like a really important thing for managers to take into consideration.
Yeah, I'm curious I'm new to sales, so I don't have an answer to this. Like why do or like I've seen people like if somebody like books meetings and hits their quota, but they don't do that the traditional way. They don't do that hitting their KPIs. They say no, I'm gonna go do my own thing, still do it. Like I've seen people like LinkedIn posts where the managers are like, no, you still have to hit your KPIs. And then the person's like, well, I'm still hitting my quota. Like I'm new to sales, like I want to know the answer to that. Like that confuses me.
Yeah. Dude, it's a great question. I think it's just going to be different per organization. So if you were to think of it from like an entrepreneurial sense, that's if you were to think small team, how can we be as successful as possible? It's probably a lot of do what works and do as much of that as possible, right? So from our perspective, because I'm in the same boat as you, I hear that and I would say let them do what works until it stops working and then we'll test something else. It feels like in corporate sales, there's more importance around having a team all be doing the same thing in terms of KPIs and strategy so that it's more controllable, which it's weird to me that it becomes a problem, but it's almost because it's like a culture of the team versus success of like the pipeline, and those things battle each other all the time.
That makes sense. That's a good answer. I
Like
appreciate that.
if you were starting a business, would you care more about everybody on the team having the same culture around what should be done, or would you be more focused on results?
No, I'd say do whatever as long as it's not illegal, you know?
Yeah,
That kind of thing, that kind of mindset.
that's funny. Do you feel like you would go back and start another business later?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's probably the goal for the future. Obviously, I haven't looked that far ahead, but right
Yeah.
now it's like get really good at sales, become a see what I can do, and then I'm sure I'll come up with something along the way.
Yeah. What about like starting a business or even just being in sales and being more entrepreneurial? What about that like gets you excited and like gets you ready to get to work, you know?
Booking meetings, can't beat the feeling. You know
Yeah.
it. Especially on the phone. When you book one on the phone and it's after, it's like, yeah. But then some days it's like, I'm not good at this. Like when I'll send like 10 LinkedIn messages one day and I'll think it'll be like super good messages and I'll get like 0 responses. I'm like, dang, I guess I'm just not good at LinkedIn messages. And then it'll be like an hour later at like 9 p.m. and somebody responds like, great message. And then you feel on top of the world. So it's insanely highs and lows.
It's
I just like
crazy how that
the
roller coaster works, huh?
yeah, it's crazy. Like what's a funny
Yeah, like
story you have? I'm sure you have something where you were like down in the
literally
dumps and then you're like, I'm the best
today,
ever.
my guy, today, all day long today. Because I'll do you one better. Like December is really hard for sales in general, just because of obviously end of year contracts, etc. Everyone's out of office. In my industry right now, it also revolves around travel, like when certain companies have travel, and there's also less of that during the season. So all of today and most of this week, to be honest, a lot of no pickups all day long. I'm trying to prospect, finding people that they don't even travel anymore. So that's been getting shut down. So today I had effectively no pickups and no conversations. Well, we usually make about 60 dials. So I was on like dial 59 of the day because sometimes Fridays are a little bit less too. I was on dial 59
Yeah.
and I'm making my last call of the day. And I'm like, all right, last one. Finally, somebody picks up. And the person that picks up is the perfect ICP for what I'm trying to talk to. And I ended up talking to her for 11 minutes. And it's like one of the biggest deals that I've set in 3 months. And I was like, I suck at cold calling. My job's terrible. And then right at the end, I was like, I'm so good.
And that's in the span of like what you were probably dying for like 2 hours. Like imagine if you don't get anything for like a day or two. It's like insane.
Yeah. Well, that was like this whole week. Like nothing really happened this week. I booked like a tiny thing early and then nothing for days. And then last call of the week. And it's massive. And it seems like a pretty good one. So it's like, am
Yeah.
I good? I guess so.
What do you guys use for dialing?
We use something called Outreach. So I'm sure
Yeah.
you're probably familiar. They're a pretty big one. It's kind of interesting. A lot of people use it for strategic templates and sequences. I'm a big cold call guy. Like I just prefer calling over anything else. So I don't even really use too many tools besides dial.
Yeah, we use Outreach too. Not for dialing, but we use Nooks for dialing. So I'm pretty spoiled with all
Okay.
these, cool tech tools. It's pretty insane.
That dude, I take that for granted because I definitely know that I want to start a business as well once I eventually get through whatever I want to do from the corporate side. And I used to think it's like
Yeah.
having a physical phone, dialing physical numbers, using different tools and all this stuff that I didn't even know existed. Now it's like what's possible. We have all these AI tools that can help you find people. We have AI tools that can help you do fulfillment for business. We are super spoiled. Like what do you think is like the one of the better tools that you have access to, or at least capabilities you have access to? Like, what helps you the most with your job?
LinkedIn.
Yeah, dude.
And then Common Room, obviously, because I use that for like my list building, my prospecting. I'd be a bad rep here if I didn't say that. Like Common Room, Nooks, and LinkedIn, like that combination is like insane. Like I'm like new to sales. Like this is my first sales job. I hear people talking about like, oh, I had to write down every person I was calling. I'm like, I'm so spoiled. I can call 4 people at once. I can't imagine what
Yeah.
that was like.
Yeah, 100%. I know because you keep saying like that you're new to sales, and like I love that you have that perspective that this is your first like corporate sales job. How do you feel like you got lucky getting the job because of like before you were just doing, running your own business or whatever? Do you have a college degree too? Like I'm kind of curious how you got the interview and how you got your first sales job.
No, no college degree, and yeah, I do think I got lucky, but also actually I don't think I got lucky. I knew what I wanted, and I kind of went and got it. But I did get lucky with getting, landing here at Common Room. So I'll tell you this story. So I was working in landscaping like about this time last year. Actually, it was like July last year, and I was like, okay, I don't want to be in landscaping for the rest of my life. I want to, I like sales. I like selling these people my landscaping services, so I'll just do that. So I like went to YouTube and I was like trying to find different sales industries, and I never heard of tech sales before, which really surprised me because when I found it, I was like, how has nobody told me about this? This is exactly what I want to do. Like I don't have to go to college. There's no degree. I can work from home. So I found tech sales somehow, and there was this like guy named Troy Barter. He had like a sales course, and like he gave it to me for free, and I took it, and just like learning all about the SDR role in that course. And then, obviously it interested me. So then his course was like, get on LinkedIn, start connecting with people. So that's what I did for like from July 2024 to 2025. That's all I was doing. And then come July 2025, when I graduated high school, I made a post on LinkedIn and I was like, hey, I'm looking for an SDR role, blah, 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 blah. And like all those connections I'd made from the past like 6 months to a year, they all backed me up on that post. And then my soon to be manager saw the post and he was like, hey, love your drive. Let's set up an intro call. So like I made one post, got one offer, very lucky on that part. So I'm glad to be here.
But dude, that's definitely not luck. Like you put in the hours to do all the connections. Cause that's what I'm curious about, right? Cause I worked with people where like one of my buddies, he was a bartender and then he became an SDR. I know people that come from, straight out of school into being an SDR. It really feels like sometimes organizations will just give people a chance if they have a connection or even if they just interview well. Because in that role, you really can learn how to do the job while on the job as long as you're willing to
Yes.
work hard. Where it's like, I'm curious on your perspective because I'm a huge fan of saying this statement. Like I think being a tech sales BDR is one of the best first jobs you can have because it's going to teach you just a lot about everything. So I'm kind of curious since that's literally where you're kind of at. Like, how do you feel about something like that? Like saying to other people, like you should get this as a first job.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great idea. I don't think it's for everybody. Some people say everybody can be an SDR, but I don't think so. Um, for me specifically, it's just great because I like own my own time. I don't have to be anywhere. I I really liked working remotely. I've been working really well, and I was homeschooled my whole life, so I'm used to working remotely. Um, but no, being an SDR is awesome. Um, I wouldn't recommend it for everybody because I don't think they more like order. There's a lot of order takers and they don't want to go create their own opportunities. I don't think it would be best for everybody for a first job, but I would highly recommend it to like even try it out. Like even if you don't like it, then it doesn't matter. You'll learn so much.
What type of person do you think is like built? If you had to say like the personality type of someone who should be in sales or as a BDR, how would you describe that?
They have to be extroverted. No, I'm just kidding. They don't. That's not true at all. I guess I don't know. I guess if you just have a drive to win, like for me, like I just hate losing. I don't want to lose. I'm gonna, do whatever it takes to win. But I guess anybody who just has enough drive to go create their own stuff besides waiting for other people, waiting for, people to give you orders. You have to go create your own stuff. You have to make something. So I guess people who have drive and they're creative and always be trying new things and curious. Be curious. What about you? What do you think?
I really like that. And I like what you said about competition and like being competitive because I think competition as a concept overall is something that's kind of disintegrating in certain groups of people. And I think when you can really get into a room of healthy competition, it's really, really good for your mind and your soul at your job. Because the best times I had as a BDR is when we were all trying to compete to improve, where it wasn't, I want to compete against you so I can beat you. It's, we are all going to compete to get better at the job. And I just think that skill and that mindset can go into anything that you do. And like that helped me when I transitioned into full sales. That helped me when I was doing sports, boxing nowadays, and that's, I mean, competitive in and of itself. But that's what I think is it's anybody who's willing to be curious and competitive would make an excellent BDR. And I think the skills that you learn when you join in as a BDR could literally take you into anything. That could take you into sales. That could just take you into knowing how to do task management for yourself. Like I think it could transition into doing whatever career you want.
Yeah, there's so many things. And also like having a leaderboard, just like that's like for me, that's like the best thing ever. Like I see a leaderboard, I'm like, sick, I need to do this. How am I gonna do it? Here's my competitors, this is what I have to do. Like that's awesome for me. But yeah, sales can translate to so many things. I mean, people say life is sales. There's so many sales quotes, but yeah, I think having a leaderboard is a really good thing. What's a good way that you have like healthy competition?
That's a good question. I think for us, it's less about metrics. Like the people, like, so my best friend, he still is actually in a BDR role. He's transitioning into sales right now. But the way that I liked being competitive was it was more who could have the best conversation or have the best strategy that they implemented that day. So it was kind of vague. Like we didn't like it just being who books the most meetings, who makes the most calls. It was who is going to take what we've all strategized on and actually act on it and have a really good conversation with somebody. And I think that allowed us to be more process and strategically competitive than just feeling like we're fighting for a number.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Usually I'll just be like, okay, let's book some meetings.
Dude, you sound like a textbook, like badass BDR. Like, I just want meetings.
I don't know about textbook, but no. Yeah, I guess so.
My Siri has decided that it wants to talk about being a BDR.
You're good.
On
I
my
heard
last
it.
podcast, I actually did one with an old sales manager of mine. And we talked about how some people have said that sales is just personal development rolled up into a career. I'm curious what you think about that.
I'd agree with that. I mean, you get rejected a lot, so you're gonna have a lot of character development. I'm sure you've built a lot over the years. Yeah, I'd agree with that. What's your take on it?
Do you feel like you find yourself wanting to pursue just having better habits as a person or maybe stuff outside of work that helps make you better at your job? Is that something that you kind of take into consideration?
Yeah, you have to have a healthy lifestyle outside of your job, or I think you do to be good at your job. Obviously, there's gonna be some people that are great at their job and not very disciplined outside of it, but you have to have like a you don't have to, but I like having a healthy lifestyle outside of my work, which is like eating healthy, moving, not just sitting around all day. That's big because if I was like potato, don't think I would be very successful.
Yeah. Well, I think software sales, tech sales in general is like a unique sector of that because if you were doing field sales and you were always out meeting people, interacting, walking around, it feels like you'd get some of that a little bit more naturally. What I really started to learn is when we're sitting here at a desk for most of the day, and your job, I mean, everyone knows this in sales. It's very monotonous sometimes. You get kicked in the teeth on some days. You'll go a week without booking a meeting or a week without closing a deal, and everything is turning on its head and going to shit. You have to have some other things that are going to keep you, whether it's motivated, disciplined, focused. You have to have these other things going for you because sales is a ongoing, monotonous grind style job. And that's why I feel like having these other things are so important. Like, do you feel like when things get really rough, like if there's a really big dry patch, how do you keep like the motivation and the discipline to know that it will eventually turn around?
Yeah, that's a really good point. Being grounded outside of your work is big because then if all of your focus is on your work, if it crashes, then you're gonna crash. So that's a really good point. You brought that up. Sorry, what was your question again? Remind
Just
me.
like when things really are in that dry patch and things aren't going very well, or it's been a while since you booked a meeting, like what do you like to root on of just saying like it'll eventually turn around? Because I know I had people ask me like brand new BDRs, they ask me that all the time. They say like, how do you do it if you just know things are terrible and you need to keep doing your job? Like, how do you turn that around?
I don't think I have an answer to that. If I'm in like a dry spell, obviously it's tough, but usually just like taking a step back and being like, okay, I need to calm down. I've done this before. There's gonna be ups and downs. Like things are gonna work. You just need to keep putting in the motions. That's kind of just been my mindset. Like taking that step back and be like, okay, I need to take a breath for a second, stop getting so, you know, tied to this because at the end of the day, it's not my life.
That's a good answer. That's a very good answer. And it's like not even just not being tied to work, also not being tied to results. I think if you can
Yeah.
live a life where you're not always tied to the result, but you genuinely understand that if you put in the right inputs consistently, something has to happen. Like, and that's in everything. If you are going to the gym, if as long as you're showing up and moving weights around, you will get stronger. As long as you, or at work, if you're showing up, you're trying to strategize, you're making the calls, you're doing what you need to do, something has to happen. Like, so that's a great mentality to have because we can't control the results, especially in sales. You could have every single person not pick up the phone for 2 weeks straight, and there's nothing you can do about that.
Hopefully that doesn't happen.
Yeah, knock on wood.
But that's a really good point. Well, that's a really good point. Having like being focused on just doing your motions instead of the results is good because which I think I need to change. I'm definitely focused on results, but it's hard to get rid of that. I'm sure you know.
Yeah, especially when you get paid off results when your entire life is quota based at work.
Yeah, yeah. What do you think of that? How's your like quota pressure? I guess.
Yeah, it's a good question, especially because like last month wasn't the best. I feel like this month might not be the best either. Like seasonality is just a real thing. And I feel like for me personally, it inspires me to continue learning on how I can do things outside of work to either gain new skills, get some new education, to genuinely try to make money outside of work too. Like, I feel like the two answers to that question are be okay making a little bit less or do what you can to make more, even if it means doing something outside of your job. And the entrepreneurial side of me really likes that side.
That's cool.
Yeah, because I know
Let's
you
think
said
of
you're pretty
another
entrepreneurial
question.
too. Do you really have you ever thought about like starting a business while you're in this job, or are you thinking you'll probably just really hone in on being the best BDR you can be, the best AE you can be?
Yeah, 100%. Starting a, and I guess I kind of include my LinkedIn as a side hustle now. I mean, like doing like brand deals. Like I'm getting paid to post for like two things, so that's pretty cool. Like I want to build that up
That's sweet.
and like have that on kind of the side, even though it still kind of ties to my business, but I won't sell to salespeople forever. So yeah, I
Yeah.
kind of like that as
No,
a
I
side hustle
wanna
right now.
I wanna ask you about that actually, because we do a lot of stuff on LinkedIn for the podcast, and then I just try to do some more stuff personal branding wise, not as consistent as I need to be, so I'm trying to work on that without disclosing names so that you don't have to. How did that actually come up? Like, how does someone approach you about potential brand deals, or what does that structure look like? Is it a per post? Is it a actual getting sales on the thing? How does that actually structure out?
Yeah, I like to do per post. And then in terms of actually getting them, I mean, for the one, they reached out to me, but at the time we didn't use that software. So like, okay, I don't really want to advocate for this. I knew the name, but I was like, we don't use it, so I don't want to, post about anything. But then we started using them, and then I reached out to them, and I was like, hey, let's do this, and then they agreed. So that was one, and then the other is, I find them all on LinkedIn. Just people in my network from like posting and getting to know people is basically how you do it. Just don't be afraid to ask. Like closed mouths don't get fed.
Yeah, so you reached out to at least one of these people to actually ask for it.
Yeah, I think actually both. Just chatting about it with both. I'm like, hey, let's do this. I get a lot of impressions. My LinkedIn page is hot right now. You should act on this.
Yeah, very interesting. For someone who maybe is out there who doesn't know anything about posting on LinkedIn or anything about the deals, what would you say is like a relatively like I know there's some things that will pay you like a ton and some things that'll pay you like $1. How much in let's just say a year from now, how much would you be hoping to actually start to generate from LinkedIn?
Ooh, like a yearly.
Sure.
How
Yeah,
much
just
would
like
I
a
make?
rough estimate because like someone that maybe let's say they want to actually really focus on posting more on LinkedIn, maybe actually making it as a little side hustle or a side business. What's like maybe a good amount they could aim to try to make off that?
I guess what I'll be aiming for 2026 is like I'll say like 10, 15,000.
Yeah, for a
Like this
year.
year, I think I've made like 2,000, and that's like just posting in the past 2 months, and that's like insane. And I've only
Man, that's
made like
sweet.
four posts for like the thing. So I think it's definitely possible. People, it's like a whole new world to me. It's like insane that this is even a way to make money, but it's really, really interesting.
Yeah, because I know a lot of people who've like really leaned into that side of LinkedIn, and it's good because it works for the brands too. Like when you get somebody who, like yourself, like I saw you because you were consistently posting. I know other people that have seen you because you're consistently posting, and it's very relatable. So when you start to find brands where that actually all can go to the same audience, like that's super beneficial. So good for you for actually reaching out to them and like making that
I
happen. Like
appreciate
I'm
that.
very curious to see where that goes. Like I want to stay connected and like see how that goes for you.
We will. We can do another. Maybe we can do an update next year, another
Yeah,
podcast.
dude. 100%. Well, what I'll say is I like to kind of round out these episodes by just asking the question of I like to ask everybody, is there a philosophy or maybe a mantra that you've been really trying to focus in on and live your life by right now that you would share with everybody?
For my life, just living by my faith and reading the Bible every day. That's like my life mantra. I guess for work, what people want would be just having, like, I just have like it's just like rooted in me. Like I want to like do good in everything I do, and like for me, that's like hitting quota right now, I guess, and like just like doing whatever it takes to get there. I guess there's not like a saying or a mantra that I have, but I always go back to Nike's thing. I always find myself saying just do it. Even though it's like so simple, it's like just do it.
Simple's good. How old are you?
18.
Yeah, dude, you're in a really good spot. I'll tell you, I actually like talking to you just reminds me a lot of like when I was your age. Like I was so in high school trying to figure out businesses, starting startups afterwards. All and dude, same here. Outside of work, try to root myself in my faith, stay around the people around me that are thinking the same way. I mean, it's like you said before, staying rooted in something outside of work. So for me, that's the same thing that I got going too. And I think just having a mentality of I want to win. I want things to go well. I'm going to do everything I can to make that happen, and I'm going to have faith in God that that'll be taken care of. That's a really powerful spot to be. So I'm really happy to hear that you're doing that at 18. You got a lot of stuff going for you, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And you did touch on something that's good. Like surround yourself with people that have the same goals as you, which is really important. Because if you surround yourself with the wrong group, things can go downhill quickly.
I've had that very, very personally, 100%. If you hang around, it's like people, it's so cliche of like the 5 people you hang around with, you'll be the sum and the average. It is so true. I tried to say it wasn't true when I was 18, and I realized very clearly, very fast that it was. Then I got around people who were actually successful, and now it's like everybody on my AE floor, we all make the same money relatively, and some people make more, and all we talk about is money, success, how to stay rooted outside of work, how to be a better man in general, not even just at work. It is powerful, powerful stuff. So I 100% agree with that.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, like when you're around like bad people, you're like speaking their language, not talking about the most fruitful stuff, and then you're around better people, and like you actually think before you say it. It's like, wait, why would I say this? Like it's just so much better to be around people that have the same goals as you and staying rooted.
Yeah. Do you have an online group by chance of anybody that you kind of hang out with and, share mentality with?
I have not really. I have like a group of SDRs that I chat with on LinkedIn where we have a group chat, but not really. Not really outside of work, which I definitely should have.
Yeah, me too. But I don't have one either. That's why I was curious because I would have joined yours because I'm trying to figure that out too. Who knows? Maybe we'll start one. We'll see.
We'll see. It would be worth it.
Yeah,
I'm sure a lot of people have one out there.
Yeah, they do. We could definitely find one. But no, dude, it's been a pleasure to talk with you and meet you. You're gonna go really far. I can already tell. Like the mindset you have as a BDR, you're gonna make a killer salesman. And we'll stay in touch on stuff that goes on LinkedIn. And hopefully we start seeing, your posts blow up even more.
Let's hope so. Yeah, I'll see you around the LinkedIn feed. And maybe we can have a part 2 to this next year.
Absolutely. Sounds good, brother. Super good to meet you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course.